When you look out into nature, it's easy to think of it as every creature for itself. But what if I told you there's a hidden world of partnerships, secret alliances, and bizarre arrangements that are happening all around us? Today, we're diving into the unseen connections that truly shape the wild. So, to get us started, here's a little riddle for you. What could a clownfish, a bee, and a tick possibly have in common? I know, it sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, right? But the answer actually unlocks one of the most fundamental rules of how life on this planet really works. And that answer, that fundamental rule, is all built around one single concept. It's called symbiosis. And once you get what this is, you start to see this invisible web of life pretty much everywhere you look. So, symbiosis. It sounds complicated, but the root of the word literally just means living together. And that's all it is, really. It's any close, long-term relationship between two totally different species. But, and this is the most important part, for it to count, at least one of them has to get some kind of benefit out of the deal. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Living together can look very, very different depending on who's involved. Not every roommate situation is a happy one, you know? We're going to break down the three main flavors these relationships come in, and they range from perfectly friendly to, well, downright destructive. First up, we've got the feel-good story of the bunch, mutualism. This is the ultimate win-win scenario. This is the kind of partnership where everyone comes out ahead. In mutualism, both sides get something valuable out of the interaction. It's a true two-way street. You can think of it as a plus for one partner and a plus for the other. Everybody wins. And you've seen examples of this your whole life. The classic one is bees and flowers. The bee gets a sugary meal of nectar, and while it's doing that, it helps the flower reproduce by pollinating it. Or what about the clownfish and the sea anemone? The fish gets a safe, stingy fortress to live in, and in return it keeps the anemone clean and scares off predators. And then you have oxpecker birds on a zebra. The bird gets an all-you-can-eat buffet of ticks and pests, and the zebra gets a free cleaning service. It's a perfect deal for both of them. So, a win-win is great. But what happens when the benefit only flows in one direction? Well, that brings us to our next category, commensalism. This is basically nature's version of just catching a free ride. The dynamic here is a little different. One organism definitely benefits, but the other one, it's completely unfazed. It's not helped, but it's not hurt either. It's totally neutral. So we've got a plus for one and a big zero for the other. A perfect example is barnacles on a whale. For the barnacle, it's a free cruise through the ocean to find food. Does the massive whale even know it's there? Nope, not at all. It's the same deal with remoras that stick to sharks. They just hang on and eat the leftover scraps. The shark could not care less. Or think about a bird building a nest in a tree. The bird gets a safe place to raise its young, and the tree is just being a tree. One benefits, the other is completely indifferent. Okay, so we've covered the good and the neutral. Now we have to talk about the dark side of symbiosis. This is parasitism. And really, it's like having that unwanted house guest who eats all your food, makes a mess, and refuses to leave. In this relationship, it's completely one-sided and destructive. The parasite gets a clear benefit, but it gets it by actively harming its host. So it's a definite plus for the parasite and a big, damaging minus for the one it's living on. And I'm sure you're familiar with some of these. A tick latches onto an animal to get a blood meal that in the process, it can pass on some really nasty diseases. A tapeworm lives inside an animal's digestive system, literally stealing its food from the inside and making it weaker. And it's not just animals. Mistletoe might look festive, but it's a plant parasite that digs into a host tree and sucks out its water and nutrients. It's a purely selfish, harmful relationship. Shoo! Okay, so those are the three major players in the game of symbiosis. Let's just pull it all together so we can see the whole picture at a glance. So let's recap it one last time. Mutualism is that plus-plus, where everybody's happy. Commensalism is the +0, where one gets a boost and the other is just fine. And parasitism is that nasty plus-minus, where one benefits directly at the other's expense. That's the whole framework right there. And here's the real takeaway. This stuff isn't just a collection of weird, isolated nature facts. These relationships, the good, the bad, and the neutral, are literally the threads that weave the entire fabric of an ecosystem together. They are the invisible forces that dictate who survives, who thrives, and how our world functions. So it kind of leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? If the entire natural world is built on this complex web of partnerships, some helpful, some harmful, and some just there, it really makes you wonder,
What are the unseen symbiotic relationships that are defining our own lives every single day?